did you test animals?
I worked in a lab. I worked in two different labs where animal testing happened. One was for 1 year, and the other was for 2 years.
What animals did you test?
I always tested on mice and once or twice on rats.
What exactly do you test for with that animals? Or what exactly did you test for?
Different things. So when I worked in a cancer lab, I was working with people who were giving these mice tumors or trying to give mice tumors and then seeing the effects of certain drugs or certain genetic mutations on the tumors. And then I moved to a neurobiology lab and I worked with like changing gene expression that coded for a developmental process in brain growth and to look at what happened when part of that process didn't occur or when the genes were missing so that that process wouldn't occur.
At one point in time, were you ever opposed to, or are you currently opposed to animal testing?
I think that animal testing should be kept as minimal as possible. So, for instance, testing for things like beauty products or cosmetics that we now know we don't need animal testing for, things that we can test other ways, then I don't think animal testing should be used. So I think it should really be in fields and areas where we don't think we can, test these things any other way.
Or did you ever have times when you felt guilty about doing that, like, ever?
I did sometimes feel bad, for the individual mice that I'd be working with. So if I was working with a mouse and I knew that I was going to hurt it, then of course I felt bad. But like I said, I kind of always kept the higher cause in my mind. So when I was working for a specific scientific reason, I was okay with what I was doing for that reason.
What kind of things did they teach you in animal testing ethics classes?
Yeah, so before I could work with animals, I had to take a couple of different classes to be able to work with them. So the first class was just general good handling of these animals. We call it husbandry. So it was how to properly take care of the animals while they're in the lab or in the vivarium. That's the place where the animals live. And then the second class was more about the ethics of working with animals. So this was really an outline of what exactly is okay to do to these animals and what isn't.
What are your thoughts like as a whole on animal testing?
Well, I think that when it's done correctly and for a good purpose, it really can provide a service. So animal testing really does help the scientific community on the whole. So most drugs that we use for things like anything from cancer to lowering your cholesterol to brain, anything doing with brain, that most of those have been tested in some form on animals, or even that most of those have come about from animal testing. So, I do feel bad for the animals, and I do, feel for any living thing feeling pain. I do also look at that greater good and think that, there is a reason and a purpose for it. I do feel pretty secure in the way that animal testing has gone about, at least in the places I've been on the university campuses.
Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.